All right, tonight's subtle emotion for courage is exhilarating. And this one took me a moment to associate courage with exhilarating, but I get it. And the memory that came to me was I grew up in Southern California for the first half of my life. And when you grow up uh, here, that's where I'm at now, there's amusement parks kind of everywhere. I mean, not really, but there's a lot of amusement parks in a close area compared to the rest of the country or the world. I don't even know if they have amusement parks in a lot of countries. And uh, I would go on field trips to them through school, and then once in a while by myself or with a friend, school friend, neighborhood friend. And at Knott's Berry Farm, I haven't been there in a long, long time, so I don't know if it's still there, but they have a particular ride uh, that was pretty popular back in the 80s, and it was called Montezuma's Revenge. And as a kid in the 80s, I was pretty young, I was terrified of this thing. Basically, it's a roller coaster that just goes one way and then does a full 360 loop and then goes up, and as you hit that crest, it goes backwards through the loop and back. And I watched this thing, and it looked pretty terrifying. I've heard people, tell stories about it. Kids like to embellish, just like adults do, or outright lie. So I don't know if the stories I had heard were real or not, but I remember one kid telling me it was called Montezuma's Revenge because it was so scary. A lot of people shit their pants, and that didn't entice me to try it. So, and when you fear something, the longer you hold on to that fear rather than walking through it, facing whatever the fear is, it just builds. And I started to create my own stories. I remember I'd walk in the vicinity of this thing, and immediately I would just lock up with fear and terror. Like, oh man, like I don't even want to look at it. That's how afraid I was. And then in the 90s, as a teenager, a young teenager, I think it was like 13, 14, I was there at Knott's Berry Farm. Maybe I was a little bit older, but I think it was somewhere around there. And my friend, Tony, he was there with, I think, a chick. I don't know, it's a little fuzzy. I remember the ride. And he's like kind of fucking with me a little bit, flipping me shit about being afraid. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. And I was standing in line. You're just watching this roller coaster just literally just flies off the handle, does the loop de loop, and then comes backwards. And I'm watching the people, and I'm watching how slow it gets when it gets to the top of the circle when people are upside down, and then watching it come back, watching people go backwards upside down. And I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this. I just kept feeling that in the line, but I was like, no, 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 I'm not gonna chicken out. I'm gonna face it. I'm gonna do it, you know. And I don't know if my friend really helped me or not, because when you're afraid and people are flipping you shit, doesn't usually inspire you to step into it. You know, it's judgment basically. Um, Sometimes it does. Sometimes the pride kicks in. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna prove this person wrong. But I don't remember it helping me too much. And we got on the ride, sat down, and I was really feeling the fear. Like it was just surging through me. My heart was pounding. I knew it was too late. I couldn't get out. And then, boom, the roller coaster took off. And it took a little bit for the courage to catch up, the exhilaration. But I could feel it. It was not that strong at first. I wouldn't say it was soft, but it wasn't a strong feeling. And then going upside down, but it was going so fast, even though it felt slow, that that feeling got stronger. And pretty soon, when we're up at the top, and I'm looking out over Knott's Berry Farm way up there, it takes like a second and a half, where it just stops and it gets quiet. And I was just like, oh man, this is amazing. And then we're flying back down, and I was laughing. I was having the time of my life. Went upside down, backwards, back, and the ride was over. Just like that. Like all that fear, years of fear, creating more and more stories about it, just building on the fear, waiting in that line. Took a while, I don't know, 45 minutes. And then the ride itself, and that transformation from fear to courage and to exhilaration, was just a few seconds. That's what was crazy. And those few seconds felt timeless. I think that's really the power of roller coasters when you're young. It's like a safe way to feel kind of out of control, but also to just step into the fear in a way that normally you wouldn't be able to. At least not in modern day society. It's not like the old days when boys were expected to be men and to face physical challenges really young. But yeah, I remember that feeling, that exhilaration, and it was like the universe or the matrix opened up. I'm like, man, I can't believe how much of my life I feared this thing. And it was fun. It was fun. And I wanted to go right back on it, keep at it, try it again. Uh, and I went, over the years on it a few times. But that first feeling, when it went from all those years of fear and it shifted into that exhilaration feeling, I've never had that again on that ride. I don't see why I would. The you know the fear was gone. I faced it, and yeah, I was grateful. Grateful my buddy flipped me a little bit of shit. I'm grateful I stepped into it, because it was a great time, even if it only lasted a couple of seconds. All right, that's tonight's subtle emotion for courage. I'll see you guys tomorrow.